everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited to be doing this video because this is my most requested video. Everyone always asks me these questions, and for me doing these parts on TikTok, it kind of gets a little crazy, so it's easier to have everything into one video. Now remember, this is probably going to be a little long of a video, but please bear with me. If you really want to go to Japan in high school, I promise you I'm going to give you everything you need to be able to go. Now before we get started with the video, I ask that you please follow me on Instagram. We do these polls where you decide what video I'm going to post next. So if you want to take a part of these polls, then please follow me on Instagram. Now I want to clarify a few things. You can still study abroad in high school if you are graduated. You can also look into this video if you are not of high school age. That's completely fine. You have plenty of time to prepare. Or if you're just curious about how the process works. This video is also going to be for people who want to study abroad in other countries, so this is going to be kind of the same process. So if you're interested in studying abroad in like Korea or a different country, you can keep watching, I promise. This is going to be for you too. Or if you were like me and your parents didn't let you go at the time of this video, don't worry, I will be posting a how to convince your parents to go let you study abroad in high school video soon. I will let you guys come up with the questions to ask my mom, and she'll be able to give you all those answers. And if you also do not know how to go to Japan in high school as well, you can show your parents this video, so hopefully kind of eases up a few things. So the first thing I want to tell you guys is that I actually graduated in 2.5 years in high school. I actually only did a 1.5 years of traditional high school, and after my 1.5 years I went to Japan, and then I came back, I did this specialized program, and I graduated 4 months later. So first things first, I do want to tell you how to prepare back home because this is going to be very important. Now being able to study abroad is so much fun, I promise. Now the first thing I recommend you to do is figure out your school situation. Now I cannot emphasize this enough, guys. If you do not prepare and you just go study abroad, you will have a lot to deal with when you come back, and it is a mess. So I'm going to explain to you guys how I actually graduated early and what I did to kind of help me prepare back home. Now the first thing you're going to need to do is figure out when you want to go and what part of high school you want to go. Now the ages to go on exchange is 15 to 18. Sometimes you can get away with turning 19 on exchange. I'll explain that later. So for me, for example, Japan's school starts in April and ends in January. That's why you have to prepare back home, because for me, if I would have left without preparing, I would have had to do another year of school, and it just would have caused a lot of issues. Because I'm leaving my sophomore to junior year, it just really would have complicated things. So do your research on the country's school and also like figure out when they start school, and usually like the program that you're wanting to go with will tell you like when you'll leave, and that kind of will give you a key. Like we left in March when I went on exchange. You'll understand how the school system works once you do your research. For me, I personally decided to go my sophomore to junior year because for me, I just felt like the freshman year, and they always told me this, they always told me that the freshman year is the most important year. And for me, I just felt like I would have had a really big difference if I went in freshman. I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much as my sophomore year, and plus the maturity level kind of comes into play as well. But if you want to go your freshman year, you can, but just remember guys, I waited like, I was 12 years old when I wanted to go to Japan, so I waited a really long time to go to Japan, and I promise you it is worth the wait. Now before I talk more in depth about how to prepare back home, let me tell you that I was actually in middle school when I wanted to go as well, and I talked to my middle school counselor, and she said that there wasn't anything that they could do just because everything's going to be done when I'm in high school. So if you're in middle school right now, you cannot really do anything, just kind of like prepare yourself by learning the language, or but just by studying and just knowing kind of what you want to do. So there's that. So when I went into high school, the first thing I did was I talked to my student counselor, and I told her, I said, well, I want to go on exchange and I want to go to Japan, and the first thing she told me was no. This is public school. Remember guys, public school does things for you. This is public school. They cannot tell you no. If you want to go do something, you need to do it. When she told me no, I was heartbroken. And she told me that they never had a student go on exchange at this school. Thanks, Miss Lopez. I really appreciate it. My mom was also there that day, and she was so upset at the lady. I ended up switching guidance counselors, and the first thing she said was, of course you can go. Let's figure stuff out. My freshman year was pretty normal because I got all the credits kind of the same. I just kind of did my credits the normal way for my freshman year because I was gonna get all of my credits kind of the same. But when it came to my sophomore year, I was actually placed in a US history junior class instead of being in the sophomore class. I forgot which history it was at the time. But that was because we had a STAR test, and I live in Texas, so we take the STAR test. She said it was one of the more harder classes to do as well. So my sophomore year also I got placed in credit recovery, which is basically like a computer class. It's called E2020 or Edgenuity, and it's like this class that kind of helps you excel it, but you do it online. It's also for people who don't do any of their work and like who's falling behind. It's good for those people too. So that's what she put me in to kind of catch me up on some of my credits. Since I was leaving in March, none of my second sophomore credits would have counted towards my school year. So my mom just ended up like dropping me out of school, and then I just kind of studied Japanese and just kind of prepared for my trip to Japan. Now I'm going to talk a lot more about how I got my credits when I came back home and stuff, but I just want to talk about now how to apply for high school exchange. So here are some of the programs that you can go to on high school for an exchange. You have YFU, Two Worlds United, Green Heart Travel, Yes Abroad. Now the more popular programs that you can apply to is Rotary, ASSE, and AFS. Now I want to talk a little more about these programs a little bit. Not all of these programs I know, but I do kind of want to mention that Rotary is actually going to be the cheapest program that you can go to, but Japan is not going to be guaranteed, or your top country is not guaranteed, because you pick between 3 countries. Those 3 countries, Rotary will pick one for you. You normally get the top one, but it's not guaranteed. So for me, it wasn't worth it. And on top of that, Rotary has really strict traveling rules, so that also for me was a deal breaker. Now with AFS I actually applied to first and I got declined, and I'll talk to you guys about why I got declined. It was just for another reason that I'll talk about. AFS is going to be one of the more expensive programs to go to, but it is the most known program, and that's kind of be also like you're going to meet a lot of people, everything. So with Green Heart Travel, there was only one person who went, and she ended up getting placed in like Kyushu, while like everyone else was like placed in like Honshu and like Hokkaido. So for those of you who do not know, I actually went with ASSE. I really loved ASSE. I was really happy with it. Obviously I got declined in AFS, so AFS kind of left me with literally less than like 8 months to kind of be able to go to Japan. They almost ruined my chances of being able to go to Japan. So I was really salty at the time when they declined me. Like I said, we'll get into it. But just remember, if you're applying with like ASSE or Green Heart Travel, any of those, you normally will be, once you get into Japan, the program will change to JFIE. I don't believe it's the same for AFS though. I may be wrong, but I don't know, I didn't go with AFS. So now that I told you about some programs that you can go to, remember you guys are gonna have to do your research on different programs that I give you, because ultimately like I was really happy with ASSE. I was set on ASSE, and we're going to get into why I chose ASSE. But I do want to let you guys know that you do need to find a program that you are genuinely happy with, and also that are going to kind of fit your needs. Like my needs were, I really wanted to travel. Like I didn't want to be like Rotary, and if I was in a district or like a place, a city, I didn't want to only have to be in that city. I would have missed out 99% of my experiences if that was the case, because I was placed in a rural city with like nothing there. So anyways, I'm gonna tell you guys all about how I applied, when I applied, and when I got everything going. So I'm gonna show you guys also how to apply on my computer here, and we'll go from there. Now we are on the ASSE site. Now it is super easy to figure out when you need to apply, deadlines, scholarships, what kind of countries you can go to, different programs like that. But I'm gonna show you kind of what I did also as well. So first I obviously clicked United States, and I scrolled down, and this right here is all the student countries that you can go to. But as of right now, I just became an ASSE exchange student. I did a year abroad. One thing I do want to mention is that you will need to figure out how long you want to go on exchange. I have met a lot of people, and they always say do the year abroad, and I applied for the year abroad too, and I do not regret it. As many of you guys know though, I did leave early because of my host family, but that'll be a story for another day. But a lot of people even do a summer excursion, but these are the 3 options that you have. You have a summer excursion, a 6-month semester program or you have a year abroad program. Now, like I said, 6 months isn't that bad. Like, you can still do 6 months if you're worried, but I feel like after 6 months, you do get kind of accustomed to things. You start understanding the language. I think I kind of clicked at 6 months as well. And you kind of just enjoy your experience, and I feel like it really optimizes your experience. Because remember guys, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, I am never going to get this opportunity ever in my life ever again. So just know that. Also, I hear a lot of people asking me why I preferred high school exchange over college, and you do get a lot more immersed when you're in high school because you're actually in a Japanese traditional high school. So if you're on the edge of wanting to go to college and do study abroad, or if you want to study abroad in high school, for me personally, I just saw more benefits doing it in high school as well. To this day, it was the most hardest but best experience in my life. I was so mature when I came back that I literally lost my friends because I just wasn't, I don't want to say I wasn't at their level, but like, I've experienced things that not even adults experience. I mean, most adults nowadays will never experience language barrier or never experience getting through in a different country, kind of leaving your values and morals behind. Like, they'll never experience that. So you just kind of go through these life experiences that not a lot of people will go through. So that's why you mature so much. So now we're on the year abroad. So I definitely wanted the year abroad, and it kind of just gives you like kind of, you know, some background. I definitely recommend downloading the student brochure, but see, and then they have lots of really cool stuff. My internet's not really working today, but this will give you lots of like good information on what you want to do. So here are the student countries. Usually they have a full list of where you can go. You can go to so many places, it's not just these. And remember guys, if a program that you like doesn't have a country that you want to go to, check other programs as well. Like, there's going to be a lot more programs with tons of options for you. So it doesn't just have to be Japan. If you want to go to like an African country, check other programs as well. Like I said, it's going to be up to you to do your research. After that, you apply, and I'm gonna exit on this. After that, you'll apply. You can request more information, you can apply, or you can get in contact with them. Now, one thing to know about ASSC is that they have an area representative. And what that means is that someone from ASSC will connect you with an area representative, but that area representative is gonna help you with all your paperwork, everything. And you might get in contact with like one of the main people at ASSC, but your area representative is who you're gonna kind of be in contact with while you're in your home country. And when you go to Japan, it's going to be kind of like a guidance counselor, or like someone who's gonna help you there as well, like your representative. You'll have another one in Japan, someone who volunteers to do that for you. So that is one thing I really like about ASSC, is because the area representative, she was so helpful to me. And to this day, I am still very appreciative how helpful she was. Without your area representative, you will not be able to go, because that's how much they help you. Okay, next thing we should kind of discuss is scholarships, guys. And it's going to be, again, up to you to figure out your scholarships. I think for ASSC, you had to have like really good Japanese in order to go, and you had to do like an essay in Japanese, and that was just like, I'm not that good at Japanese still. I'm obviously going back next year for language school because my Japanese sucks. But anyways, scholarships are going to be up to you, but I think with AFS you had to do an essay at the time about why they should pick you, or why you wanted to go on foreign high school exchange, kind of how it would impact your life. And guys, this is how easy it is to find scholarships. Ready? Okay, so you're just gonna go right here, oops, and you're gonna go to scholarships. Super easy, and it's gonna give you all of the what it is, kind of, and also like you can always ask them about scholarships. Keep in mind, guys, you need to know the deadline for when you have to apply. Like, you have to apply like at least 8 months in advance. Like, this isn't something that you're gonna apply 6 months prior and you're gonna go. Like, 6 months you might be able to, but you are really pushing it because you are relying on the government to give you like your COE to be able to apply for the visa, and that is a lot of pressure, and that is a lot of, you know. So And that's how easy it is to look for scholarships as well. So I just want to let you guys know that Japan is a country where you cannot have any medical issues whatsoever. And what I mean by that is, like, they don't want you on any type of medication except birth control. That's an exception. But for me, I was placed on antidepressants for like a month and I ended up having a seizure on them. I immediately got off, but honestly, that could have stopped me from going to Japan, and I didn't want that to let it ruin my dream. But they have this thing that Japan is this really hard country that like only like the mentally stable can go. Like they want to make sure that you can handle Japan because it is a really hard country. Like the things that I've had to endure too was a lot. Now, the thing that you have to keep in mind is that you kind of will have to endure a lot in Japan, not always, but it is a hard country. So just keep that in mind as well. The reason why I was able to go with ASSE is because it kind of made a loophole. Like my mom, she was not gonna let that stop me from going. And to answer your question, no, ASSE did not know that I was on antidepressants. And honestly, like to this day, they still don't know. And hopefully they'll never find out. They can't really do anything now, but I was able to go because of them not knowing that I was on antidepressants. They told me in person that I was not accepted because of my medical forms, and I bawled my eyes out. I literally told my mom, I was like, my life is over, what am I living for? Because this was the only thing that I wanted in my life at the time. Did I get it? I don't know your situation, you might be going through a lot, but if you want to study abroad to Japan, you might not get accepted because you are on antidepressants. So that's something to keep in mind when you are debating whether to go to therapy or go on medication. So that's not my decision for you. I will never tell you what you can and can't do. But if you are wanting to go to Japan in high school, please keep that in mind. But if you are on antidepressants, it's not impossible. There was a loophole that I did. I'm not gonna explain how I did that loophole, but yeah. Now I'm gonna tell you when I applied to ASSE. So let me kind of get you that information. So now I'm gonna tell you about how I applied and kind of the process as well. So I got my acceptance into the program on July 8th, 2016. Keep in mind, guys, that I wasn't leaving till like March of next year. So guys, I was like at the 9-month mark. So I applied in like June, July for my preliminary application. And just to let you guys know, like if you're applying to a program, the basic application is not the actual application. It's just something to kind of like put your name in there and kind of reserve a spot, if that makes sense. Because now that you're gonna have to do another application, which is a lot of paperwork and tons of like stuff about you basically. I'll show you guys the emails that I got from ASSE, and also I'll show you guys like the scholarship stuff that they applied, because after I was accepted into their program, I got sent all of their scholarship stuff. Obviously I didn't really need the scholarships because I did lots of fundraising to be able to pay for my foreign high school exchange, and my mom knew when I was like 12 years old that I wanted to go on exchange, so she had plenty of time to save up too. So anyways, so here was the email that I got from ASSE after I was accepted into the program. ASSE did know that my dream was to study abroad, so that's why they also said like make your dreams come true, because this was my dream. I literally wanted to go for so long. So for your final application, this is everything that I needed in order to go to Japan. So keep in mind, this is with ASSE. If you want to go to another program, like I said, do your research, guys. First thing I needed was the application form. They needed some things corrected, and like the application form obviously had like a lot more stuff. Then they need a Dear Host Family letter as well. I believe I did mine in Japanese. I'm not too sure, I have to look into that. But they also wanted a photo collage. So I did these photo collages. I'll put a picture in it if I have it, but I did a little photo collage of myself, did a 2-page photo collage. And I did my letter in Japanese. It doesn't have to be like a super long letter. I did like kind of like a short letter. I can put it up here if I find it too. Recommendation letters. They needed 2 letters from me that wasn't family. So I did my guidance counselor from school, and I did my Japanese tutor. So those were the 2 people that recommended me for this program. Outbound program agreement. You obviously have to agree to like their rules and everything. So that's something that I needed to do as well. School transcripts. So when you are doing high school exchange, you will need your previous 2 years for your schooling, because you have to have a certain GPA to go. I think it's like a 3.2 or something. But yeah, so ASSC only got my 2015 to 16, but they needed my 2014-15 grade. So for me, my 8th grade year counted for me. So I had to make sure that my 8th grade I did really good because it was going to count towards my study abroad. So if you're going sophomore to junior year, make sure that you have hopefully had a good year in 8th grade because that does count, even though lots of times middle school grades do not ever count, but it did in my situation. And of course, the program deposit fee, they wanted a program deposit fee of $1,200. Guys, this is so many emails. Oh my gosh. So this was my letter of acceptance. So they said, welcome. They said, greetings from the ASSC outbound program and welcome to the ASSC family. Via email, we will send you information letters between now and the time for you to depart to Japan. Another email will follow you with your first set of information letters. If you do not get a second email, please double check your spam. And it just says a few things to do now. If you're not already, please start the application for your passport now. If you already have one, please send a scan of it by email. The passport must be valid 3 months after your program abroad has ended. Start learning Japanese. I totally agree because it would have been a lot easier if I would have learned. But don't let that discourage you from going, because if you want to learn Japanese before you go, you're never gonna do it, honestly. Unless you have a lot of motivation, but you're gonna learn most of your Japanese in Japan anyways. So don't be frustrated if you don't know that much Japanese. I promise it's gonna be okay. It says also, now is the time to think about how you currently do and portray yourself on social media networking sites. Your new host family will be hoping for a student that is mature and is looking forward to stepping into their family. We trust that you're already thinking ahead, but in case you haven't reached that point yet, proper etiquette on social networking. Avoid saying negative things about your host family, school, and your new country, etc. Also be cautious of what your friends might post on your page or tag you in an inappropriate photo. Our goal is your success, and your public social networking personality is an important part of that. Together with your local area representative and your regional office, I'll assist you during the upcoming months to prepare for your adventure abroad. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So that's kind of like my welcome to the program. I was crying when I got this because I was so happy. Like, this was the best thing that's ever happened to me, no cap. So the next thing they gave me was an information letter guide about like culture exchange, language, food, school, host family, friendship, religion, all that stuff. Like, they basically gave me an information letter about all that stuff, and I'm not gonna go over that because honestly it's kind of like self-explanatory. Once I got everything submitted to them, they said, soon you will take part in a great adventure. I'm sure you are very excited. I have attached the invoice to our ASSC program fees for your choice of destination. Please be reminded that the final payment is due on December 10th, 2016. So like, I had to give them my $10,000 for this program like a few months before I left. So my program was $9,900, but that doesn't include like school uniform, when you get over there, bike insurance, stuff like that. You will need to pay for that, so kind of have a little bit of a leeway. So now that you're into your passport process, now you're going to be kind of prompted to get your visa. Now, ASSC does not get your visa for you. You actually have to drive to a Japanese consulate, which was like, I think like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away from me, and you have to apply for the visa yourself. If you do not do this, you are not accepted into the program because you have to have a visa in order to go to Japan, so remember that. So they sent me a thing saying, Dear Isabella, as mentioned in information letter 6, you will need to apply for a visa for Japan. Step 1, please contact the consulate and reconfirm the information below. ASSC cannot be held responsible for changes and updates. So I called them, asked them, and they said everything was right. So they also gave me my closest consulate, they gave me the application and also the visa hours, so that was really nice. I'll let you read this, but as a general rule, all supporting documents must have been issued within the last 6 months and they must be original. So remember that you must travel to Japan within 3 months of the issue date noted on your certificate of eligibility. So my program gave me a certificate of eligibility, which is called a COE. You have to have that. You cannot go to Japan and be a student without a COE. So this is super important also. So they gave me also a valid passport. They gave me the visa application. You do have to fill out the visa application yourself. So for me to apply for the visa, you have to have a passport-sized photograph. You have to have original and photocopy of certificate of eligibility, which is actually going to be mailed to you by ASSE as well. You will need your visa fee, copy of flight itinerary, which is a e-ticket and is also mailed by us. So now that you got your visa information, now you just wait. I left in March of 2017. I got my high school in Japan on December 22nd. So I got it 3 months before I left. And if you do not get your high school, like, you know, I was really lucky that I got my high school like that early in advance. Some people don't even get their host family information nor their school information until a few days before they leave. It really all depends on how fast you kind of, you know, school picks you. And honestly guys, like, you're not gonna be able to choose where you go. It's kind of like the school chooses you. Now, honestly, everyone got a chance to choose like what part of Japan they want to be in. Everyone chooses Tokyo. Honestly, you probably will have a better chance of going where you want to go if you kind of do the outskirts of Tokyo, or like maybe like go to like Nagoya or something, somewhere kind of closer to Tokyo, because honestly, I just feel like I got a way better experience. I went to Tokyo, and personally for me, I was really overwhelmed by everything. For me personally, when I go back to Japan next year, I'm not going to be going to Tokyo. I'm going to be going to Osaka. So anyways, that's something to keep in mind. Just be open-minded to where you're placed. And I promise you, like, when I got placed in Japan, I was placed like in Kobe, which is like, I never even heard of that place. It was like super like down Honshu. I was the second person that was like placed the farthest for Japan, and I still had a great time. So your location is important, but it's not gonna make or break your exchange. So I promise you that. But I got an email saying, great news, our Japanese office has placed you in a high school in Japan. You will find details about your school below and a website to explore. It seems our Japanese partner has placed students in the school before, and it is a wonderful school. And actually, my teacher told me I was the first exchange student they ever had, so I don't know how they found out that like there was other exchange students, because like when I asked, they were like, oh yeah, you're the first exchange student we've ever had. And I was the only exchange student, and I had a school. I was a co-ed school, because you will either get a co-ed school, so boys and girls school, you'll get an all-girls school, or if you're a boy, you'll get an all-boys school. So that's the only like things that you have. So I was really lucky. I got a public school that didn't have school on Saturdays, because sometimes you do, if your school goes to school on Saturdays, you will have to go to school on Saturdays. My school was a public school. Didn't have to do that, because public schools are a lot more, I think, stricter than private schools, which is something that I wasn't used to, I guess. Now, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope I answered most of your guys' questions. If I haven't, I will be doing a Q&A, hopefully sometime in the future, about high school exchange, life in Japan, stuff like that. That will be a video that I'll be doing, so don't worry if I didn't get your questions. Now, guys, like I said, if you'd like to, please follow me on Instagram at TheBellaAbroad. I would honestly love to have more of you guys follow me on Instagram, kind of give you a more in-depth look at my life. And also, you can take a part of these polls where you decide what videos I post next. I can't wait for more videos to be put on my YouTube channel, because I'm excited to announce that I'm going to be collabing, but I'm not going to announce who yet. You'll see when the video comes out, but I'm so excited for the future, guys. And as always, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, wherever you're from. Bye!